What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video. And in this one, I'm going to be talking about the 2022 NFL Draft again. Now, like I said in my last draft-related video, I'm going to be touching more upon free agency, potential trades, free agent targets, players who could be traded on the Patriots for the next several months leading up to free agency. That's going to be the main focus, with some draft stuff obviously included. And then after free agency has died down, that's when we are going to go absolutely crazy with the draft. But I wanted to get this video out here. I saw this article on FanSided on a couple of players that the New England Patriots could draft on the defensive side of the football. Now, I will be dropping a video on a couple of offensive players they could draft in the first round also. But as I started to do my due diligence on the 2022 draft class, started doing my research, and I found this article. I looked into all the players that they had listed in this article. I really liked all three of these players for the New England Patriots as potential options with the 21st pick overall. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down each of these players, what they could bring to the Patriots, and why they are a potential target. Now, first up on this list is going to be defensive lineman Marvin Lille. Now, just a little disclaimer with all three of these guys, they are guys that should be there for the New England Patriots 21st pick overall. Of course, we'll have to see who climbs draft boards and who drops with pro days, combines, meetings, all of that stuff. But at this current moment, all three of these guys should be there at the 21st pick. Now, Marvin Leo is a very interesting prospect. Some people have him listed as edge. Some people have him listed as defensive tackle. Really just depends where you're looking at, but he brings that versatility that New England desperately loves. He can play edge. He can play interior. And with the different defensive schemes and different defensive packages that the Patriots really like to throw out there game in and game out, Marvin Lille could really be a guy that the Patriots utilize in a multitude of different ways. Now, I will say Marvin Lille is starting to climb draft boards a little bit more due strictly to his size. Marvin Lille is listed at 6'4", 300 pounds. So with that being said, a big body on the defensive line that is going to help be a run stuffer immediately. It's not necessarily to say that his intangibles are just that great as a run stopper, but strictly due to his size, he is immediately going to be plugged in on the defensive line and be a big body to stuff holes. Now, while again, he is a really big guy, his main specialty is in pass rush, and he's arguably one of the most NFL-ready pass rushers when it comes to defensive linemen in this draft. Now, we'll have to see what his 40 time is, but based on my research, I have found that for a guy of his size, again, 300 pounds, 6'4", he moves relatively quickly. So he's not a defensive lineman that strictly gets to the quarterback all based off of size and strength, but also gets after the quarterback based off of his speed. And when you have a guy as big, as strong as Marvin Lille, who also adds quickness, he's going to be a tough guy to go up against. In 2021, PFF gave him a PFF grade of 70.3. He appeared in 12 games with 698 total defensive snaps, 412 as a pass rusher, 286 as a run stopper. In 2021, he also recorded 9 total sacks, 5 quarterback hits, 23 hurries, and 2 batted passes. In 2020, he had an elite grade of 88.3, appearing in 10 games with 485 defensive snaps, 324 pass rush snaps, and 161 run defensive snaps. So with this being said, you can clearly see that he is being utilized in Texas A&M as a pass rush defensive lineman. In 2020, he was able to record 3 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, 20 hurries, and 3 batted passes. PFF gave him a pass rush grade of 74.9, a run defensive grade of 67.5, a true pass set pass rush grade of 80.2, a pass rush win rate of 12.7, and a run stopping rate of 8.3. He has experience playing, again, all over the defensive line, being in several different alignments defensively, whether we're talking about A gap, B gap, nose tackle, outside tackle, or even off the ball. He has had experience at each and every single one. So again, a big versatile player that Belichick could use in a multitude of different ways. Now, I know a lot of people straight up are going to say Patriots Global, a defensive lineman in the first round. Really? We got a lot of other holes to fix. We just drafted Christian Barmore. We still have Davon Godchaux. We have Lawrence Guy. We have Matt Judon. Why do we need this dude? And to that being said, you can never have enough good defensive linemen. The Patriots are going to have a lot of questions still at cornerback, safety, just in general, the secondary position. And one of the best ways the Patriots can compensate for that is by having the most elite pass rush and defensive line that they could possibly have. Towards the end of the season, the Patriots had one of the worst pass rushes in the entire NFL. Not to mention that they still were pretty inconsistent at stopping the run. Christian Barmore is going to be great for several years. Definitely the Patriots' best defensive lineman at this current time. Davon Godchaux is only signed for one more year under contract, and Lawrence Guy definitely took a step back in 2021. With that being said, if the Patriots can get another Christian Barmore-like player, a guy who's a big body who can stuff the run, make an impact in stopping the run, but also is a body in the interior who can genuinely get to the quarterback. Imagine that guy next to Christian Barmore, and then having Matt Judon on one side, and then Dietrich Wise or Kyle Van Noy on the other. Lawrence Guy, Davon Godchaux, they are good at stopping the run, but when it comes to getting pressure, they're not all that great. Christian Barmore is your real only true pass rush defensive tackle. Now, the next guy I have on my list is a little bit more of a stretch. He's a guy that is already climbing up draft boards and could continue to. He could potentially fall. We've seen crazy things happen in the NFL draft. I mean, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was a first-round pick and didn't get drafted until much, much, much later. So this is probably the biggest push in this video, and that's going to be linebacker Nakobe Dean. Now, if Nakobe Dean is there at the 21st overall pick, there is a big case to be made that the Patriots must pick him up. Now, currently, PFF has him going somewhere between 15th to 20th overall. So he is just slightly out of the Patriots' range, but again, it is way too far to say where exactly he is going to fall, but he is a big name definitely to watch. Sitting at 6 foot, 225 pounds, the Patriots would be getting a very good sideline-to-sideline linebacker who will actually bring speed to this defense. Many Patriots fans are clamoring for Bill Belichick to get younger and faster on the defensive side of the football, and if that's what you want, Nakobe Dean is your guy. Now, he might be a little bit more slimmer and smaller than Belichick usually likes in his linebackers, but he brings the speed for the Patriots to finally make an impact in coverage, and that's been a real issue for the Patriots, is not having linebackers who can keep up in coverage. Whether that's been Dante Hightower, Landon Roberts, or even Juwan Bentley, the Patriots have always went with thumping linebackers that strictly stop the run. With Nakobe Dean, you are going to get a guy who can play in coverage due to his sideline-to-sideline speed, but can also make plays behind the line of scrimmage when it comes to stopping the run. Dean is a fantastic tackler, and I know a lot of people are going to have some question marks because he is not a thumping linebacker. He is a speedster, a little bit smaller than what we're used to seeing for the Patriots at the position. And you can even make the argument, well, why not stick with guys like Kyle Duggar playing hybrid linebacker and being the coverage guys at the linebacker position? Well, first off, you don't want to pull those guys out of their main positions. The Patriots need guys to play deep. They need free safeties, they need strong safeties, and they need them desperately. But the only thing is that with those guys, when they play in coverage, yeah, they're fantastic when it comes to playing in coverage, but when it comes to stopping the run, playing hybrid linebacker, the safeties are just too small and they are not able to make that genuine impact, which is why sometimes you see the Patriots' run defense just be highly inconsistent. With a guy like Nakobe Dean, he is somebody who, again, is going to be a little bit smaller, isn't going to be your thumping linebacker like Hightower, Landon Roberts, or whatnot. But due to his speed, due to his tackling ability, he is able to race past offensive linemen and make plays behind the line of scrimmage and make plays in the run game. It's one thing being big and strong and being able to push over offensive linemen, but if offensive linemen can't even touch you, then clearly you're going to win that matchup. In 2021, PFF gave him an elite grade of 91.8. Appearing in 15 games, he had 663 defensive snaps, 121 as a pass rusher, 218 as a run defender, and 324 in coverage with 54 tackles and 10 missed tackles. In 2020, he appeared in 10 games with 534 defensive snaps, 52 pass rush, 189 run defensive, and 293 coverage with 53 tackles and 7 missed tackles. He had a pass rush grade of 91.3, a run defensive grade of 80.4, and a coverage grade of 90.7. This guy has experience playing on the D-line, has experience playing at corner, box, playing deep, and even the slot. He ranked 11th in passer rating allowed with a 41.7 and was tied for 3rd in coverage stops with 21. Dean is your classic day one plug-in starter that makes a genuine impact. Now, lastly here is actually going to be one of my favorites, and that is a starting cornerback for New England. And that is going to be cornerback Cair Elam, which I believe I am saying right, with the Florida Gators. Now, he is another guy that you are really going to have to watch closely this offseason, see how he progresses throughout the draft process. Is he rising? Is he dropping? Currently, PFF has him going around the 22nd to 25th overall pick. Now, the reason that I think Belichick really could be interested in him is due to his physical tools and his size. Now, whether the Patriots bring J.C. Jackson back or not, they need help at cornerback. They need help in the secondary, and more specifically, they need outside help. Elam is going to be a guy that brings height at 6'2", 196 pounds. The guy also has really long arms and has really good short area speed. That could actually bode really well if the Patriots do decide to continue to play zone coverage. He's had 6 interceptions over a 3-year span, and I will say the defensive scheme with the Florida Gators has been very questionable over the last several years. I think when you come to New England, it should be more set in stone as long as the Patriots can kind of figure out who their true de facto defensive coordinator is. He's got excellent ball skills. He has true physical gifts that could really make him an interesting prospect in this draft. Is he the best cornerback? No. Is he a top 3 cornerback? No. I would say he's probably the 4th, 5th at the least best cornerback in this draft. There are some things that do concern me about him, such as his long-term speed. Like I said, really good short area quickness, but when it comes to that longevity of speed downfield, there are some question marks about that. That does obviously concern me when it comes to, playing press man coverage downfield against speedsters. Is he going to be able to keep up? Also with some questionable tackles and angles from here to there, but I do think that's something that with time could easily be coached out of him. He's another guy who has a lot of experience playing several different spots defensively. He's had some experience on the defensive line. He's played slot, he's played outside corner, he's played box, he's played a little bit deep. In 2021, PFF gave him an overall grade of 61.8, appearing in 10 games. He had 657 defensive snaps, 359 coverage. He was targeted 36 times, allowed 19 receptions for 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and had a passer rating allowed of 75.1. In 2020, he had a PFF grade of 77.4, appearing in 12 games, had 711 defensive snaps played, 393 coverage, 23 receptions on 54 targets. He allowed 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and allowed a passer rating of 65.8. In 2019 was arguably his best season, had a PFF grade of 87.8, appeared in 11 games, had 310 defensive snaps, 207 coverage, 10 receptions allowed on 23 targets for 108 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a passer rating of 18.3. Now, PFF gave him a coverage grade overall of 58.1, a run defensive grade of 77.1, a completion percentage of 52.8, another coverage grade of 58.1, like I mentioned earlier. Overall, is he my favorite cornerback prospect? Definitely not. We'll have to see again which guys rise, which guys fall. But I do expect corners to go pretty early in this draft, meaning that I don't think the Patriots are going to have, a ton of options at the best of the best. But he has shown the ability. He shows raw ability. He brings tight. He has the ability as a ball hawk. I just really think that when it comes to development, he has a long way to go, more specifically because he's being coached by the Florida Gators, who, like I mentioned earlier, just have a lot of question marks. Now, before we end this video, I want to give a big shout out to the sponsors of the channel, betonline.ag. There might be less football being played right now, but BetOnline has way more stuff to bet on this playoff season, from score points, totals, player performances, props, to even where the next fired coach is going to land. BetOnline is the #1 spot for all things NFL and betting for 2022. With the new year being here, all you guys have to do is use that promo code CLNS50 to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. And it's not just football that they have, guys. They have other sports like basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC, and even your favorite Vegas casino games. This is BetOnline, your #1 online wagering destination, and BetOnline, where the game starts. But these are just a couple of defensive players that the Patriots could draft with the first overall, or not the first overall pick, but in the first round with the 21st overall pick. Like I mentioned, I will be doing an offensive side of this, and if you guys want to see a part 2 from a defensive side, make sure you let me know in the comment section below and leave a big like on this video. Like always, though, I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a big like on this video, comment your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, I appreciate you guys for watching. Go Pats.